Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel. And today I have a fabulous classic book box that has been sent to me for review. It is of course the Literary Book Club, which comes in this lovely box. Now the box that it actually came in for this quarter is a little bit worse for wear, but I did hold on to one of the nicer ones so that I could show you what it looks like. It is fashioned to look like a book, so depending on your storage situation, you could actually have these all lined up on a bookshelf if you have a nice tall bookshelf. But I do love the inside of it, and of course it is designed by Katie, who is the owner and the curator of this lovely subscription, with our great Jane Austen quote, of course, "I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library." And this subscription is such a fantastic way to grow your library with truly, truly beautiful editions of different books. She just announced, probably about a week ago by the time you guys are seeing this video, she just announced the spring selection, which I'm pretty excited about, honestly. So one of the nice things about this subscription is I have read a lot of these classics, and there are a lot that I know the book, I know the story, and I've never actually read it, even for like college classes. But the next book, you guys, if you haven't seen already, is Peter Pan by, of course, J.M. Barrie, which I'm very excited to see. I never really got into, as much as of a Disney fan as I am, I never really got into the Disney version or any of the other movie adaptations, so I'm pretty excited to read the book. But if you are looking for a way to grow your classics library, or maybe have a beautiful library to be able to pass on to some of the younger readers in your life, in your family, I think this subscription is such an awesome way to do that. It is $74.99 per quarter plus shipping. I believe the shipping is running around $11.95. Sometimes it's a little bit more for the limited editions. And even though it is a quarterly subscription, the reason you are seeing it so much here on the channel is because I have been opening a lot of the awesome limited edition boxes that she did for Halloween, Christmas, and New Year's. And we also had the Literary Book Club's Advent box, part of our Advent series, which if you missed out on that, it was kind of fun because there were definitely some bookish items, but it was more of a lifestyle Advent box, which I really enjoyed. Now, if you are interested, and she does sometimes have a wait list going because there's a limited supply of each of these quarterly boxes, you can use my affiliate link and code, and the code mauinoel will save you $5. So as always, I'll put all of that information, the stuff that will save you money, the important stuff to know about the channel. It's always down there in the description box below. YouTube is constantly changing how you access that. Sometimes it's like a little arrow, sometimes it's see more or read more, but you can mostly figure it out. But it's all below there, and it's usually before the comment section. So all right, guys, let's take a look at what we got. So the nice thing is, this is one of those fun boxes where as you read along, there are different gifts that are inspired by the pages. But with Literary Book Club, she also always includes some other sort of, not standard, but items that are in every box that you don't have to wait for a certain page number to open. And at the very bottom of the box, then, there is sort of a checklist. I like to call it my checklist, to make sure that you got all of the contents. So also at the bottom of the box is always our beautiful 8x10 art print, which usually has a quote from the novel, designed and created by Katie herself. So this is, "You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope." And that is, of course, by Jane Austen in the amazing letter that comes from Captain Wentworth at the very end of the novel. So lovely. And I'm planning, you guys, I'm trying to get a frame so I can switch out my quote cards and beautiful 8x10 prints that we get in different boxes. I just haven't done it yet, but that one is a really lovely one. You can kind of see there's almost like a watermark, like a faint floral design in the background. Very beautiful. Because of course, the book that we have for winter, this is our December box, was Persuasion by Jane Austen. We do love our Jane Austen novels at Literary Book Club. And it is this gorgeous Chiltern edition. I just think it's so lovely, always just so well made. They always have a ribbon bookmark, these nice kind of slick pages, but the way the binding is done, it opens up really nicely. You don't feel like you're breaking the binding, so it's going to look beautiful on your bookshelf. And I kind of like the small size and weight of it as well. So it says, in her last completed novel, Jane Austen revisits the theme of mischance and misunderstanding along the road to happiness. 7 years after she was persuaded to break off their engagement, Anne Elliot is unexpectedly reacquainted with Captain Frederick Wentworth. Anne is still in love with Wentworth, but will the captain be able to forgive her? So it's actually 8.5 years. So I'm like, where did they get that from? I mean, he's very specific about that in said letter that we mentioned before. But so there are some gifts that come with page numbers and some that do not. But we also always get a nice letter from Katie with a gorgeous wax seal. I just sort of love the old-timey vibes, right? So here is this. So it says Persuasion. So I'm keeping all of these postcards with all of my books that I have. So let's see. Jane Austen's moving late novel of missed opportunities and second chances centers on Anne Elliot, one of the best characters ever, no longer young and with few romantic prospects. 8 years earlier, she was persuaded by others to break off her engagement to poor, handsome naval captain Frederick Wentworth. What happens when they meet again is movingly told in Austen's last completed novel. Set in the fashionable societies of Lyme Regis and Bath, Persuasion is a brilliant satire of vanity and pretension and a mature, tender love story tinged with heartache. Can't wait to hear what you think of the book, the gifts, and the whole experience. And then she tells us, that there's that little list at the end that tells us all of the contents of the box, which I do have out in front of me because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So that's what that looks like. It's always face down, usually under that 8x10, so you can't be tempted. But we usually get a nice swag bag, and that is the Literary Book Club, of course, kind of logo. She makes all kinds of fun things for us, magnets, stickers, etc. So this time we got our classic Jane Austen quote that's on the inside of the box as a sticker, which I do like quite a bit. And then we also got this sort of cameo silhouette portrait of, I'm assuming, Jane Austen, of course. And then we also got, let's see, a nice little book plate so that you can say that it is from your library, and a bookmark, even though we had the ribbon bookmarker in the Chiltern edition. We none of us expect to be in smooth water all our days. Jane Austen. I love all the images. It kind of like reminds me of like some of the stuff that my grandma had in her house in terms of decor. We also, as a little bonus gift, got some Persuasion quote envelope paper clips. So these are actually cute. And so it's the same, you pierce my soul, I am half agony, half hope. That really tortured feeling of love. So these are actually really cute. Because of course that is like the love letter of literature, one of the love letters, and it actually never even gets posted. He just basically hands it to her and she gets to read it, and then he runs away. So this is what these look like. I was just gonna pull one off of the card if I could, but it's a little bit tricky. Well, this is what it looks like, but it's really stuck on that card. I guess I won't show you. I'll just put that back on there. I'll just put that back because it doesn't want to come off of there. It's like looped through. I don't know how to, Try again. Here it is, cute little paper clip that's shaped like a love letter because it's got the little heart on it. So you could use these as bookmarkers, but you guys know how I am. I try not to dent my pages. So we did get a While You Read gift. We usually love those because it's usually a drink or an edible treat. Of course, it is some Stephen Smith tea maker peppermint tea. So we get to make a nice cup of tea because of course we have to be a little bit British with this one. So I will probably terrify you with my British accent as we go through. But the first one is on page 46. So there were actually 4 gifts this time around with page numbers. This is what this one looks like. And then we had a final open when the last page has been read. So I usually go through and use my little metal bookmarkers that I got from Literary Book Club once upon a time as a bonus gift. So page 46, 46. So Anne has gone over to her younger sister's house at Upper Cross because Mary is just a little pain in the butt and she always has to complain about something, and she always needs Anne to come over and make her feel better. So it says, "Did you go then? I made no inquiries because I concluded you must have been obliged to give up the party." "Oh, yes, I went. I was very well yesterday. Nothing at all the matter with me till this morning. It would have been strange if I had not gone. I am very glad you were well enough, and I hope you had a pleasant party." "Nothing remarkable. One always knows beforehand what the dinner will be and who will be there, and it is so very uncomfortable not having a carriage of one's own. Mr. and Mrs. Musgrove took me, and we were so crowded. They are both so very large and take up so much room, and Mr. Musgrove always sits forward, so there I was, crowded into the back seat with Henrietta and Louisa, and I think it very likely that my illness today may be owing to it." So That's my Mary voice. It does say Henrietta and Louise here, which is very interesting because everywhere else she is Louisa. So I don't know if that's a typo or not. I just noticed that. All right. So I do sometimes cross my words because, you know, it's written in Jane Austen. So let me go ahead and find what we got. We got Jane Austen's Table, Recipes Inspired by the Works of Jane Austen by Robert Tousley Anderson. Lovely. So it says, good apple pies are a considerable part of our domestic happiness. From picnicking on Box Hill and supper at Netherfield Ball to Mrs. Bennet's family dinners and strawberry picking at Donwell Abbey, food plays a valuable role in Jane Austen's novels. Jane Austen's Table brings readers a sumptuous array of recipes that capture all the spirit and verve of the food of Austen's world in the Regency era, adapted and reimagined for the modern day, including recipes such as Netherfield white soup, Box Hill picnic pies, General Tilney's hot chocolate, and summer berry delice. This beautiful collection of over 70 recipes provides an irresistibly charming experience of Austen's works like no other. So this is actually sort of something that I was kind of hoping to get from the Once Upon a Book Club box that I opened when we got a recipe book to go along with one of the short stories in their 12 Days of Book Club Miss box. But because I need the recipes, I'm not going to write them myself or collect them myself. But I do love a good recipe book with some gorgeous images, of course, some apple tarts, and this would be lovely if you were going to start a book club, which we are starting a book club over in the Nobot Nook. Of course, unfortunately, it's going to be all virtual because we don't necessarily have the opportunity to meet up, but if we did, I would make everyone have a recipe. So luckily, we're doing it with the book box where we will have the opportunity to try a recipe. Now, our next one was on page 97, so I have to think of what this could be. And this one came in a very shiny, like pearlized envelope. So let me go ahead and open this up because this will, I haven't opened all of these because I figure since I'm going to open them with you, sometimes I want to share the surprise. Oh, this makes sense. Okay, so we got some lovely fancy chocolate. So masked hazelnut chocolate. You guys, I bet this is really, really good. So this is... So Anne is very sad because, you know, she hasn't really had the opportunity to talk to Captain Wentworth, and it seems that Captain Wentworth is starting to maybe consider marrying Henrietta or Louisa, specifically Louisa, and they go on this walk, and he has the opportunity to talk to Louisa, and of course Anne overhears a lot of it. So this is going to be mostly in his voice, and then he makes the metaphor. You're like, where's the chocolate? Hold on, you guys. It's a little bit of a longer passage. So let's see. She would have turned back then, but for you? She would indeed. I am almost ashamed to say it. Happy for her to have such a mind as yours at hand. After the hints you gave just now, which did but confirm my own observations, the last time I was in company with him, I need not affect to have no comprehension of what is going on. I see that more than a mere dutiful morning visit to your aunt was in question, and woe betide him and her too when it comes to things of consequence, when they are placed in circumstances requiring fortitude and strength of mind, if she have not the resolution enough to resist idle interference in such a trifle as this. Your sister is an amiable creature, but yours is the character of decision and firmness, I see. If you value her conduct or happiness, infuse as much of your own spirit into her as you can. But this, no doubt, you have always been doing. It is the worst evil of too yielding and indecisive a character that no influence over it can be depended on. You are never sure of a good impression being durable. Everybody may sway it. Let those who would be happy be firm. Here is a nut, said he, catching one down from an upper bough, to exemplify. A beautiful glossy nut, which blessed with original strength has outlived all the storms of autumn. Not a puncture, not a weak spot anywhere. This nut, he continued with playful solemnity, while so many of his brethren have fallen and been trodden underfoot, is still in possession of all the happiness that a hazelnut can be supposed capable of. Then returning to his former earnest tone, my first wish for all whom I am interested in is that they should be firm. If Louisa Musgrove would be beautiful and happy in her November of life, she will cherish all her present powers of mind. So this is very convicting of Anne, who's listening, because basically Anne was persuaded not to marry Captain Wentworth. So now he is very of the mind that you need to be not easily persuaded and like a hazelnut. So that is where the hazelnut chocolate comes in. Very cute interpretation. I think that is adorable. All right, the next one came on page 175, which is just the beginning of chapter 18. Let me see, what was this gift? 175 came in a little satin bag. Let's see what this could be, so I know which passage to read. Sorry, I read so much of that in a not the most authentic, manly Captain Wentworth voice. It's from Victorian Trading Company. Oh, okay. All right, all right. I thought it was a doorknob. It looks like a little jewelry box, doesn't it? Like a little jewelry box. Is that what that is? Let's see if I can open it up. Sometimes these like to open nicely and sometimes they don't. Oh, it's a little stamp holder. So you can put a roll of stamps in there and then they will be deposited out through the little slot. Or washi tape. Hey, I found a washi tape holder, you guys. If only it had perforations. That's kind of fun, though. So it's a porcelain roses stamp box. Honestly, I saw that on the little list here, and I had no idea what it was. So this probably just has to do with, like, correspondence, you know, of the time. So I don't even know if they used stamps. I think they just had, like, letters conveyed to people by carriers. So it says, it was the beginning of February, and Anne, having been a month in Bath, was growing very eager for news from Uppercross and Lyme. She wanted to hear much more than Mary had communicated. It was 3 weeks since she had heard it all. She only knew that Henrietta was at home again, and that Louisa, though considered to be recovering fast, was still in Lyme, and she was thinking of them all very intently one evening, when a thicker letter than usual from Mary was delivered to her, and to quicken the pleasure and surprise, with Admiral and Mrs. Crofts' compliments. Let me read the rest. The Crofts must be in Bath, a circumstance to interest her. They were people whom her heart turned to very naturally. What is this? Cried Sir Walter. The Crofts have arrived in Bath, the Crofts who rent Kellynch. What have they brought you? A letter from Uppercross Cottage, sir. Oh, those letters are convenient passports. They secure an introduction. I should have visited Admiral Croft, however, at any rate. I know what is due my tenant. Anne could listen no longer. So Sir Walter's actually her dad, and he's very vain, but they have rented out their place at Kellynch to the Crofts so that they can save some money, because he's a little in debt. So yes, it was just about Mary writing and complaining about something. I think it's when Mary writes and complains that she hasn't gotten to come to Bath and meet the fancy cousins, and she's also probably in that letter conveying to Anne that Captain Wentworth is no longer assumed to be betrothed to Louisa. All right, our last page-numbered gift was on page 254, so I do love that she gave us this bag with the little sticker on it, which is easily removable, so it's a reusable bag for sure. What do we have here? Oh, okay, so more correspondence paraphernalia, a nice floral, it's embossed, you can feel like the texture on it, note card set. So let me open this up. Oh, pretty. So let's see, does it say anything? The nice thing is it has a magnetic closure on the bigger envelope, and then it looks like this is what the cards are with all those pretty scalloped edges, and then it has matching envelopes with pretty scalloped edges. Lovely, very, very simple. You could just leave it as your calling card, of course. It's from Carol Wilson Fine Arts Incorporated, and it looks like we have maybe 10, I'm not sure how many, but I'm looking at it, it looks like maybe 10 note cards. 10 or 12. But that is a lovely gift. Let me go ahead and read the passage that goes along with, because we still have more to go. So, she had only time, however, to move closer to the table where he had been writing, when footsteps were heard returning. The door opened. It was himself. He begged their pardon, but he had forgotten his gloves, and instantly crossing the room to the writing table, he drew out a letter from under the scattered paper, placed it before Anne, with eyes of glowing entreaty fixed on her for a time, and hastily collecting his gloves, was out of the room again, almost before Mrs. Musgrove was aware of his being in it, the work of an instant. The revolution which one instant had made in Anne was almost beyond expression. The letter, with a direction hardly legible to Miss A.E., was evidently the one which he had been folding so hastily. While supposed to be writing only to Captain Benwick, he had also been addressing her. On the contents of that letter depended all which this world could do for her. Anything was possible. Anything might be defied rather than suspense. Mrs. Musgrove had little arrangements of her own at her own table. To their protection she must trust, and sinking into the chair which she had occupied, succeeding to the very spot where he had leaned and written, her eyes devoured the following words, which of course is that quoted letter, but I won't read the whole thing to you because I don't want to make you suffer through more of my Captain Wentworth voice. But we do have one final gift, of course, which is to be opened when the last page has been read, which is lovely, and it looks like she's had it made for us. So it is a book sleeve to take your books on your travels, and that way you can even take the beautiful editions and not worry about them getting nicked and scraped. So it is nice and padded. She had it made for the Wildflower Book Club. It has it on both sides, of course, with the silhouette, as well as the quote, "You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. Tell me not that I am too late. Captain Wentworth." Love it, love it. So this was actually one of my favorite book boxes so far, quarterly boxes from the Literary Book Club, mainly because I do love Persuasion. I loved the opportunity to reread it, even though I didn't read it as in-depth as I would like to. Let me know if you've read it, if you love it. Let me know if you've seen the latest adaptation. I actually thought it was really, really cute, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all very, very soon in my next unboxing.